Hey there, ladies, gentlemen, and those beyond the binary. My name is ZenkoSolo, and today I would like to give you all a little bit of advice. Now, in the past, I have made it very clear that I don't really care much for competitive, not because I don't enjoy the atmosphere or what people can bring to the table in a high-end setting, but more so because of my lack of personal free time. However, recently, I finally managed to land a job, which, thank God, only took 8 months in this economy. But beyond that, an ironic twist of fate, it means I have more time to do things like competitive, so I decided I would start playing it. But I didn't do this for the love of the sport or the environment, and I definitely didn't do it to prove myself to the people in the comment section who keep saying things like, "Oh, you're in bronze, so you clearly don't know what you're talking about," as if these literal middle schoolers think they know more about the game than I do, as somebody who used to study how they were designed. No, see, my reasons are grounded in a lot more realistic, tangible forms. Namely, I want that skin you get for getting to gold 3 and nothing more. Now, as I started playing competitive, the spies that live inside of my home Alexa decided that they were going to sell my information to the Chinese government, and in doing so, that got back to YouTube, and they started promoting a lot of competitive rivals content. And very shortly after getting these videos pushed to me, did I realize that a vast majority of people who play competitive in this game go in with the most toxic mindset I've ever seen in any competitive game. Well, of course, barring Overwatch, where the exact same issue happened before. And if you don't already know what I'm talking about, it's the idea that if you win a few games, you're automatically going to lose the next one. Apparently, people who play competitive believe that after winning one game, the skill-based matchmaking, or just matchmaking in general, is going to put you in a game with a bunch of fucking idiots, and in doing so, it will deliberately sabotage your rank in order to keep you playing the game longer for the sake of retention. This idea, speculation, and whatever the hell you want to call it, actually comes from an old document posted by NetEase where they talked about player retention tactics, specifically one line that suggested to what I just said. Now, I actually already knew about this document, as a while ago NetEase was promoted as the publishers behind Project Mugen, which is a game that still has not come out to this day, and in looking for information about this game, I stumbled across it. That said though, you would believe that with there being some form of tangible evidence for this theory, that it is 100% true, right? Except it's really not, because this is the exact same thing that happened in Overwatch so many years ago. Except then, there was no such critter. It wasn't real, there was no evidence that it was real, it was just based purely in speculation. Now, at the end of the day, if this system is real or not, I personally do not fucking care. But for those of you who believe it is, I'm gonna give you some advice. And I don't need to be a top 500, good at competitive, or hell, even your father, for that matter, to give you some advice like this, because trust me, man, it's gonna help you get through life a little bit easier. Let's say, hypothetically, for the sake of the argument, your matches are rigged. You will never be able to win so many games in a row without going on a losing streak to compensate, yeah? Okay, well, if that's the case, let's say you hit Grandmaster tomorrow, yeah? Well, guess what, buddy? The only reason you hit Grandmaster was because you played enough for the system to favor you and then immediately promote you to that rank. So now, your accolade isn't a product of your actual player skill, it's just a product of how much time you put in. And suddenly, me saying that that's how it works seems a lot more asinine. And if that's not how it works, then that means you're suggesting that NetEase honest to God believes making people lose more games and constantly be frustrated is a better retention tactic than giving them a win every now and then. You want me to tell you why you have this belief system that every time you win one game, you're gonna lose the next, and why when it happens, you suddenly go, "Oh, look, see, there it is, that's why it's real"? You want me to tell you the actual reason you think that? That's called confirmation bias and a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you go into a game under the immediate expectation that just by virtue of winning the last one, you are going to lose this one, you are setting yourself up for failure. I am a walking example of fake it until you make it, dude. I know exactly what I'm talking about here. Do you honest to God believe I had any amount of self-confidence 5 years ago? Fuck no. I was about as much of a loser as you are now. The thing is though, we as people are highly susceptible to believing things that we hear, even if personally we have no investment in them. And at the end of the day, the only factor you have control in any given lobby is going to be yourself. And by immediately putting yourself down the second the game starts, what the hell do you think is going to happen? So then what happens is you go in, you put in effort, but not as much as you would because you already think it's not going to matter anyway. You lose, now you're pissed off, and you're going to lose the next game, and the next game, and the next game, because you believe that there is some artificial losing losing streak out of your control that's gonna make it happen. So now, in addition to already believing you're going to fail before you even start, you're going into the next game pissed off from the previous with a clouded judgment and not making as many good plays as you would before. So now what happens is, you turn off the game because you believe that that's going to help you win the next one. You immediately play the next day, and suddenly you start winning again. And when you win that game, for starters, you've probably already ranked down multiple times from your lose streak, so it's going to be easier. But in addition to that, you believe in your mind you are going to win that game because you went on a lose streak before. So now I have to ask, do you honestly believe these factors are just inherently out of your control, or is it just more of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Or better yet, do you think maybe, just maybe, you're not as good at the video game as you think you are? The funny thing is about us as humans is that the less we know about something and the more we know about something, the more likely we are to agree that we are wrong. But there's also a little bell curve there, and anybody inside of that bell curve becomes less and less agreeable until they peak out and start getting better at the game. The people who learn the fastest are those at the bottom who understand they don't know anything and make an effort to learn, and the people at the top who, in spite of knowing a lot, understand that they still aren't perfect and continue trying to learn. The reason the bell curve is so drastic though is because people get in their own heads, they have their own ego, they believe they're better than they actually are, and then they get fucking humbled, and instead of trying to learn, they blame it on factors that are outside of their control. It's always, it was my teammates, it's my healer, my tank's not doing their job, the damage isn't good on the team, and sometimes this is true. Sometimes there are things you just can't deal with. However, even in these bad games, there are still going to be things that you could have controlled completely. Maybe you threw the point because you used the cloak and dagger dash and invisified your entire team. Maybe you overextended right into an ultimate and got killed. Maybe you lost track of your team or got blown up by a pinning mine. Or maybe, just maybe, it was a complete lost cause from the start. However, before just assuming it's something that you couldn't deal with, you need to genuinely assess the situation. And for starters, just try and have a good time. Like I said in the start of this video, I just started playing competitive 2 days ago, but in that time, I've played about 18 games, I have 12 wins, I'm already in silver 2 with 400 kills and 100 assists. I think I'm pretty good at the game, but I also understand I'm not the best. When I lose, I don't let that get to me. And don't get me wrong, I've had some pretty fucking devastating losses. I had a game that went on for 19 minutes at one point, and we lost because the Moon Knight's double damage ultimate and a Spider-Man that kept fucking spamming that ultimate attack. Like, there is absolutely no shot that the people in that lobby were not smurfing hard, and I did my best to make sure that we won, but there was only so much we can do. Also, yesterday, we were playing a lobby with some people who were fucking DDoSing our server the second they had an advantage. This is not a joke, by the way. This is not a Wi-Fi problem either. I was inside of a call with my buddy Deuce, who lives halfway across the world. So by the end of the second match, it was a 3-point tie to a 3-point tie. They went, they pushed it past 1 point, making it 4-3, and then the second it was our time to push the cart, mysteriously the server started to lag. Deuce made a comment that it was his Wi-Fi, and then I said, no dude, that's not you, I'm lagging too, and then some other guy on our team was also saying, hey, I'm lagging as well. To which I have to say, it is awfully fucking convenient that the server only starts to lag the literal second our team is supposed to be defending in what should have been a relatively tied game. And of course, I have no proof that that was actually what was happening, but I will say this, the Wi-Fi issues mysteriously stopping the second the game was over is also more evidence these motherfuckers were just cheating. But it doesn't really matter to me. I have no investment in actually getting a high rank. I'm just kinda here for a good time. And lo and behold, despite losing that one, I got MVP the game after that, won the game after that, and then got MVP a second time, which was a 3-win streak. Ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm making is, if you want to get good at the game, then you have to understand that sometimes it is your fault, and sometimes there are things that are out of your control. Ultimately, your win rate is going to hover around 50-50 either way, unless you are the problem. I also need you to understand that if this system does exist, and it is the reason why you aren't winning games, then you cannot control it, so you might as well go through your day as if it's not there. The developers can't even fucking fix something if it's based entirely on superstition anyway, so just go through your day, assume it's not there, and play your games as if it wasn't around. And I guarantee you, you will see more results when you do that. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been ZenkoSolo. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until I feel like talking about video games again, I will see you all around. Farewell.